let's now try to add a new mutated methods into the student class for adding a new student record. Let's review what we have done already, and I would like to show you just an alternative way of doing things. Okay, so now if you recall what we did, if you go to the student class over here, you can see that given that we got the courses attributes of type course record array over here, and also we got the NOC for number of courses. Okay, that's what the pattern we talked about in the previous video. And this is the mutated method that we did before, okay, for adding courses. Nothing wrong with that, but I would like to show you an alternative way of doing it, because sometimes you might find the alternative to be more convenient. Okay, so it will be up to your judgment which one to use. Okay, now let me tell you the crucial difference between the two versions. Let's call this version 1. Okay, for version 1 over here, you can see that add course record, and we have the parameter type being course record is an object. So this means whoever wants to use this method here, for example, student tester, if the student tester would like to add a new course record into Jim as a student, let's say, they must create a course record object in the tester class and then pass the objects as the inputs. So what I mean by this, what do I mean? So if you go to tester over here, you can see that how did we call the method before? We say s.add course record cr2. What is cr2? In the same class of the tester, we actually created cr2 over here. Okay, you can see that, right? Okay, so that means now you can think about like a user and provider. Okay, you got like a user is like the user is a student tester over here. For the user to really use this particular add course record method, the user must create the objects themselves and then pass the object reference over here as an input. And then the service provider over here, the supplier is going to just take the course object over here. Oh, sorry. The course object, let me just close this for confusion, to avoid confusion. So now you can see that for the provider over here, we simply define this add course record, which will take only a single object as the input. Okay, that's what it does. Okay, let me also stop the debugger from the previous run. Okay. Okay, so now it stopped. Okay, so now we would like to define an alternative way of doing it. Let me just auto document this. To call this method a course record objects must be created first and pass as arguments to this method. Okay, for example, cd student tester class. Okay, where we got cr1, cr2, and also we have s.add course record and then cr1, and also similarly we also have s.add course record cr2. So that means cr1 and cr2, they are both created in the context of student tester. Okay, now another way to do this is to say whoever is going to use which is going to add a course into the student class, we don't really require them to create a course record object themselves. So they can simply just provide the information that is necessary for us to create a course record object internally in the method. Okay, what do I mean? I'll show you. So now what I want to do is create another mutated method over here. I'll say void. So now I also call that add course record. So in Java, it is okay to have two methods of the same name as long as they have different types of parameters. Okay, so now I'm going to show you. So now rather than passing a course record object, what I would do is let's think about what's really necessary for us to create a course record. If you recall what we did in the course record tester, we got 3 versions of the constructor over there. And then I'm going to show you this version over here. What about we only pass the title, which means the marks can be set later. Okay, how do we do that? So if you go back to students over here, you can say add course record. So now we can say only give string title. So that means the title over here is, so what does that mean? Let's think about this, okay? Given the add a course with title T, okay, let me just say T, with title T into the courses array. Okay, that's what we want to do. So how do we do that? Basically, what's gonna happen is it's gonna be extremely similar or almost identical to this particular method that we did before. The diagram drawing, which I'm gonna show you first, is gonna be very similar. Okay, why don't we do the diagram drawing first, and then I'll show you exactly how you can do it. Okay, so now let's see this. So now if we try to do that over here, basically we're gonna create some course object first. Okay, you're gonna create, let's say this is what we have got so far from the previous tutorial video. We already got two courses, CR1 and CR2, over here. Okay, what we want to do is we want to first create a new course record object over here and then link it to there by using some assignments. Okay, but how do we do that? Okay, maybe before drawing the diagram to you, let's go to Java code to show you. Okay, what we can do is we're gonna create a course object right here. Okay, so now what we can do is we can say course record and then CR, and then it's assigned to new course record, and then calling the second version of the constructor. So this is absolutely okay because we're just creating the course record objects inside a method. And what should we do? What we can do is, let's see the less perfect way to do it. And then you can say this dot courses, like what we did before, at position NOC is assigned to CR, and then NOC plus plus. Okay, why don't we try this one first to make sure it works, and then I will show you how you can simplify that. Okay, now what this will do is it's going to create the objects. So now whoever is calling this method here, they do not have to create the course record object first. They only have to provide the title of the course, and then creation of the course record objects accordingly will be up to the method itself to do it. Okay, so we are shifting the responsibility from the tester or the user to the provider. Okay, hopefully you can see the difference between these two methods. Which one to use? Completely up to you. Okay, so now let's just use this method here and make sure it works. So now I'm gonna continue from the previous work. Let me just get let's get rid of the course record tester here. Let's go back to student tester. Okay, now what I would do is let's just add a new course over here. So s.add course record. Now you can see we got two options over here for you. Let's choose option number 2. Okay, so now we don't have to create any course record objects like what we did for CR1 and CR2, because now, like a CR1 and CR2 over here, because now we are calling this new version over here. So now what should we do? So let's say we want to add, let's say EECS 3311. Let's say that's all we want to do. Okay, and then we can say system.out.println s.toString. Okay, let's just see what's going to happen. Okay, let's first run it, and then I'll use a debugger to show you and draw the diagram, and then I'll show you the more perfect way of doing the code, so you can also learn from that. Okay, so now first of all, let's now launch the tester over here. So now let's play. Oh, you know what? Let me before I do that, let me also say this so that'll be more informative to you. Okay, after adding the third course, add position 2. Remember, NOC has been incremented from 0 to 1, 1 to 2, and then 2 to 3 after this particular adding. Okay, so now let's see again. Run, and then let's see what happened. Okay, you can see that after adding the third course at position 2, this is what we have. NOC is now 3. So NOC being 3 means so far we have added 3 courses. And also, if you want to add a 4th one, the next one should be stored at index 4. Index 3. Beg your pardon. So the next course to be added to the course array, the 4th course, should be stored at index 3. Index 3 in the array means the 4th position. Okay, and then now for the array, so now we got first course, And also we got second course, and also we got a third course that we just added. So we got 2 more null slots. Okay, so it seems to be working. Okay, it's working. So now I want to use the debugger to show you, and then show you how to draw the diagram at the same time. I want to put a breakpoint over here. Okay, and then I'm gonna launch the debugger. Okay, so now I'm gonna launch the debugger over here and see what happened. Okay, we pause over here. So now this is the point right before we try to add a third course. So up to now we have got 2 courses, CR1 and CR2 added, and that's exactly what's shown over here. Okay, we have seen this diagram a few times already in the previous tutorial videos. Okay, let's start from here. Okay, so now we want to see exactly how this second version of the add course record method is executed. So now rather than saying step over, we're gonna say step into. Okay, if you say step into, notice that S is the context object over here of address 493. Okay, so you're going to see exactly how things will go. So now we'll say step into. So now you can see that we're calling this second version of the add course record method. And then you can see the parameter over here, the arguments is T, which is EECS 3311. So now we're going to execute these line by line. Okay, what about the first line over here? Course record CR is assigned to new course record T. So what this will do, it is going to execute the second version of the constructor for course record. If you for completeness, if you want to see how exactly it worked, you can simply say step into again. So now we are in that second version of the course record. So now we're in the course record class, and then you're gonna say this.title is assigned to title. Okay, if you say step over here, you can see at the moment this title is actually null. Okay, and then after this, we're gonna after stepping over again, the title becomes 3311. So what that means is, so what we have is we have let me use a different color here. So let me use red. So we have CR, which is the the new objects we want to create over here, CR. Okay. And then CR is now pointing to a new course record object over here. So course record, and also it has 2 attributes. It has title, and it also has marks. Okay, and then we know that after, if you go by the course record here, after this line of execution for the second version of the constructor is going to be assigned to 3311. Okay, so now we get EECS 3311. Okay, marks will just be default value 0. Okay, and now we step over again. So now we just finished executing the first line of the second version of the mutator. Okay, so now right before we try to do this, so this now we go back to where we were in the previous tutorial video. So let's do it again, just for strengthening your reviewing your understanding of the pattern. So now currently NOC is simply just 2 over here. That means we have got 2 courses so far. So these two courses are linked to the array, a link by the array, basically. So these are the 2 courses, and also if you want to add a third course, position 2 is the way to go. Okay, that's exactly what this 2 here means. So there are 2 purposes. And then so here we say this.courses. What's this? This is basically, if you see this over here, is student at 493, which is S. Okay, so now if you say this.courses at position NOC, which is 2. So we are talking about this position over here. Okay, position 2. And then it's going to be assigned to CR, and CR is basically the object that we just created from the previous one, from the previous line over here, CR. You can see CR is storing the address of this new course record objects in the memory. So now, what does it really mean? When we try to do this assignment here, CR is assigned to this particular slot of the courses array. So what you would do is as follows. What you would do is, rather than pointing to null for slot number 2, it's now going to point to this object over here, wherever CR is pointing to. So now you can see that over here, this is the most critical bits you should really see. You can see that over here, so these two are pointing to the same objects. Okay, CR, which is the object that we just created over here. Okay, after this, one more thing. We have to update NOC so that we know that now we have store. So after this, we'll increment it to 3. So what does that mean? As soon as we increment this to 3 over here, so that means so far we have got 3 courses that are connected from the courses array. And also, if you want to store a 4th one, you should really start from index 3 for the next one. Okay, so again, you should really review the 2 purposes of this NOC counter over and over again. Okay, so now that's exactly what we did. So now it seems to work as well. You can see the way we draw the diagram is basically the same as how we drew before in the previous video, but the way we achieve that is by using 2 versions of the add course record method. Okay, this is second version over there, and the only extra step we had was to create the course record objects inside the mutated method itself rather than in the user, like a tester class. Okay, you should really compare these 2 versions. Okay, so now let me stop the debugger over here, and then I want to show you a better way to do it. You can see that over here, these 2 lines and these 2 lines, they are the same, aren't they? So if you try to repeat your code, we say that your code smells. So we want to get rid of this smell. How can we do that? We can simply just call this particular, the first version, as a helper method. So that's what we can do. Okay, I can simply say this dot add course record and then CR. Okay, you can see that this is exactly the 2 lines that we just had. So now you can see you don't have to repeat the same 2 lines for twice. Okay, okay, calling another version of the mutated method as a helper method. Okay, so that's how you can do it. So that's the second version. Basically, again, you should really understand the difference between the 2 versions. One version, version number 1, the user of this method must create the course record object themselves. The second version, the user of this method here do not have to. They only have to provide the information that's necessary for this particular method to create the course record object itself. Okay, so 2 versions. Okay, finally, let's go back to the student tester over here. Since we just changed our code, let's better test-driven developments. Make sure things still work. Launch, and then you should see that over here, okay, things still work. So now, after adding the third course over here is still 3311 over here. Okay, one more thing to show you. Let's say I want to set this particular marks. Okay, let's also review the data notation a little bit. I want to set this particular third course of the student, set a mark to be something. Okay, let's go back to see, in the previous video, we already talked about the dot notation. Let's see how we can do that. So now, let's say this is what I want to do. Okay, let me use pink. Let's say I want to set this value here to be, let's say, 84. Let's say that's what I intend to do. But how do I do that, right? So how can I traverse all the way from S into this particular marks? How can I do that? So we're going to use a dot notation. Okay, let's try to see how we can do that. Okay, so now remember, the way we traverse is by using dot, which will correspond to arrow in the diagram. Okay, let's try to do that. First of all, using S, we can follow the arrow to go to this object here. So that corresponds to S dot, okay, and then once we get to this object here, we want to get to courses. Okay, and we know that the courses is actually an array, and to really follow the array, we can specify which index we want to go to. Okay, for this particular one, we can say, let me use pink over here. Courses, and then we want to know which slot we want to go to. And we know that somehow slot number 2 is connecting to the course record object we want to go to. So now we can specify 2 over here. Okay, Once we get there, so now we can use a dot notation again, because s.courses at position 2 is really referring to this slot over here, which stored the address of some course record objects. So now, how do we follow this arrow here, over here? So we can simply do another dot. Okay, so now we can say dot, and then dot, which will go for this arrow over here, and then dot, and then let's say we want to go to marks over here. Okay, dot, marks. Okay, that's how we get to this particular attributes. And if you want to set it to be 84, set it to be 84. Okay, that's how you can use a dot notation. You can see it's very powerful, but you have to understand the object structure very well, and then you can simply translate from arrows into dot. Okay, let's see that how we can do that. So now you can simply go for s dot courses at position 2 dot marks is assigned to 84. That's one way to do it, but since we already got a mutated method over there called set marks, you can say set marks as well, 84. Okay, the idea is still the same. Okay, and now after this, okay, let me just also as out, after setting the marks of the third course. After this, so we can now just copy and paste and try to do it again. You can see at the moment it's actually 0 over here. Okay, you can see 0. Let's change that to 84. Let's now launch and see what happened. Okay, you can see now NOC remains to be 3, but now you can see that it's now the marks is 84 over here as opposed to its initial value 0. Okay, so now again for this video we just show you a second version of the add course record method, and also we review the dot notation and also other details again. So you should really try to see if you got any problems. If you got questions, you should really refer to the previous videos.